What I want to do is finish up by telling you a little parable, a little morality tale, a story. I hope you will enjoy it and learn something from it, hopefully. It's a love story. It's about two young people. They're very much in love. And it's the perfect kind of, many years ago, I had a relationship, and it wasn't going very well. And I had a good friend, and he gave me he had an interesting perspective. He said, listen, you have to ask yourself, does she make you a better person, and do you make her a better person? Because if that's not happening, then there's no point in dealing with this. There's no, then maybe this should just not happen. So this is the kind of relationship where the two lovers make each other better people when they're together. Right? They know it, their friends know it, their families know it, and this is a really good story. On both sides of the family, their parents know it. They agree, right, that these people make each other better people. The love is real and true and beautiful. There is, of course, a problem, or it wouldn't be a story. The problem is that he's just not very good at keeping his appointments, right? So they make a date to meet under the tree, and they make a date to meet by the river, and they make a date to meet in the cafe. And he completely forgets to show up for the date under the tree. And it's doubly tragic because while she's standing there waiting for him, it begins to rain. And if he had shown up, he would have been standing with her under the tree in the rain as the water dripped off the leaves, landed in the grass, the smells coming up. They would have been holding each other. Would have been very beautiful. But he didn't show up, so she was alone, and it was getting colder and colder and colder, and she was getting angrier and angrier and more miserable. Right? So when he heard this story, right, it moved him in his heart, and he realized he had to do something next time. And what he did was he managed to get to the river a few hours after she had left, right, which is better. Right? But it really only gave him the chance to sit down at the bank of the river and watch the water go by. And he was no fool. He understood that he's in a story and this must be a symbol. Water rushing by, what could it mean? And so he resolved, I'm really going to make an effort with the cafe. And he showed up just at the moment when she had decided this will never work. Right? She has resolved to break up with him. She has checked her phone one last time, no messages. She's getting up from the table, and he barges in through the door. Now, you have to remember that they are very much in love. This is important. There's no doubt about the truth and genuine beauty of this love. So you would feel like she felt at that time too. You would have a moment of doubt. You would say to yourself, maybe I should let this go. Maybe we should just have this date now that he's here. But then, of course, she realized if she does that, if she lets this go, nothing will ever change. And so she straightens her back. She steels herself against the pain. This breaks her heart. A tear begins to form. She doesn't say anything. She looks him straight in the eye. She walks past him into the street. He understands now what has happened without any words being spoken. He feels a wave of sadness and regret wash over him. He feels weak in the knees. He stumbles over. Fortunately, there's a bar. So he sits down on the bar stool and begins the thing that we very poetically here in Denmark call the mourning process. It's a grieving process, cast a soul, right? It is a loss. Now we have to face, what is it we have lost, right? Fortunately, there's a bartender who serves up some drinks, and they are able to have a conversation. And the bartender is, of course, very quickly able to help him understand what happened here. And he says at one point, he says, you know what I think your problem is? I think you have a hard time keeping your promises, young man. And he says, yes, that is exactly right. I've been promising to fix her bike for weeks, and I haven't gotten around to it. I'm going to go over there right now. And he begins to leave. But, of course, the bartender, being a smart man, realizing he's in no condition to fix a bike, says to him, young man, no, sit down. What you should do tomorrow, when you've had some sleep, is you should give her a call and say, on Saturday at 2 o'clock, I'm coming over to fix your bike. And then on Saturday at 2 o'clock, you should show up and fix her bike. She will say, yeah, of course you will. But be there, surprise her, fix the bike. And she will be very surprised, perhaps, And she might say, hey, this was odd. Do you want to come in and have a cup of coffee or something? And then you should say, no, no, it was just the bike. I'm not here to disturb you any further today. I will be leaving. Thank you very much. And then if you want to do something romantic, don't just send her flowers, you know. What you should do is you should call her up and say, on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, I'm going to bring some flowers for you. And she will say, yeah, yeah, whatever. And then you show up at exactly 4 o'clock with the flowers. She will be very surprised and very happy. She will invite you inside. And you will say, no, no, it was just the flowers. If you would like something, give me a call maybe someday, right? Now, why is this, right? And the reason for this, the bartender, of course, explains, is that there's nothing wrong with the emotion. There's nothing wrong with the love between these two people. The problem she has is she can't trust him, right? And so she has to learn that trust again, and the only way to do that is for him to build it up, right? To make promises and keep them again and again and again. This will build the relationship back to what they need. And of course, there's a piece of information I've kept from you because I wanted you to like him. It's not just that he doesn't keep his appointments. You know this, you've already suspected, right? It's not just that he doesn't show up on time when they have a date. It's that at 4 in the morning, right, spontaneously, a little drunk, feeling in the mood for love, he has a tendency to call her up at very inconvenient times, right? This is not very good. This is what we sometimes call a dysfunctional relationship, right? And what you want to do is fix that, right? Some people need it. It's tragic and beautiful and necessary. But most people would want to fix that part of the relationship, make it work. Now, why am I telling you this tragic story, which could have a happy ending, let's hope, right? It's because I am assuming that there's a part of you that wants to become a better writer. There's a part of you that isn't the whole of you, but just a part of you that would like to become a better writer, that would like to write. That part of you needs to have a relationship of trust with the rest of you, right? That part of you needs to be allowed to work at the craft. And the way you build that relationship of trust is to promise the day before that tomorrow we're going to write a paragraph, and it's going to be a very specific paragraph. It's going to say something very specific, and you will have a specific amount of time to solve that problem, right? And what you will find is that the part of you that writes, the author in you, will learn to trust you and become better and better and better at using this time. And there will be times, whether you're doing a 48-hour exam or doing a final project or writing your master's project at the end of the process, right, when you want this relationship to work, right? And that's why you want to spend time building it up when there's no crisis, right? You want to make sure that the part of you that writes trusts the part of you that doesn't write, the part of you that thinks.